Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 1442, written by Anonymous. The Maine bridge that connects into the multiverse. My wife and I were driving back from a family event in eastern Maine, using a GPS, maybe smartphone, maybe just car GPS. It was really foggy, and we drove over this narrow bridge where we both felt really tense as we crossed, kind of inexplicably, but also maybe just because it was narrow and it seemed like if a car emerged from the fog coming our way, there might not be room to pass. I remember once we crossed, we both remarked how weird it was, and how I felt like we'd almost been kind of yelling with stress as we crossed, even though I knew we hadn't been. It was total silence. Anyway, I've made that trip most years of my life, and I have no idea where that bridge is. There's one bridge that kind of looks like it, but it's definitely a decommissioned rail bridge, and not even something we could accidentally find on ourselves or cross. This happened in like 2015, and I'm not really a superstitious or spiritual person, but there's a small part of my brain that feels like we crossed over into a crappier timeline that day. I mean, it's not like things were great in 2015, but a lot of that would never happen things have happened since then. Case file 1442. The Maine bridge that connects into the multiverse. Perhaps the bridge, then, was significant not as a literal crossing of the multiverse, more as a signal of the transition occurring. And then in the new universe, you couldn't find the bridge anymore, but in the past, original universe, it did exist, you just never looked for it. That would definitely be a mind-screwy thing, because a bridge is such a hefty difference. But it is such an interesting parallel, because you think of crossing, and you think of a bridge. It's almost like maybe your minds created the image of a bridge, but it never existed. It was simply the transition process from the subconscious to the conscious, being aware of what was happening. Case file number 1443, written by Squeezebox12. The Bathroom Portal Mystery. Over winter break, I took my 14-year-old daughter shopping at a mall in the big city we're originally from. I had to use the restroom, so we found a ladies' room, and when we went in, there was a line of 3 or 4 women waiting for the 4 stalls, which all seemed full. Other women were washing their hands. It was quite a busy scene for such a small restroom. The woman waiting right in front of me was middle-aged, wearing a tight-fitting, younger-style clothing, dark skinny jeans and a bright-colored shirt, possibly red or pink, and tennis shoes. She had full, thick, long reddish hair. I remember she went into the first stall when it became free. As I was now first in line, I scrolled on my phone while I waited for another stall to open up, but it seemed like a really long time to wait. I turned around to look at my daughter, who was standing behind me, and she shrugged, frustrated at how long everyone was taking. Finally, I thought to bend over and look underneath, which I hadn't done before since there were several people in line when I came in, so I assumed they had done that already. I was absolutely shocked to see that there were no feet under the first stall, but I figured I got mixed up, and I just went in that one to take care of business. After my daughter and I left the bathroom, we were walking back towards the stores. I said, "That was weird. I saw the woman in front of me go in the first stall, but then it was empty." And her eyes got big as saucers, and she said, "I did too." We both very specifically remembered what the woman looked like, that she went into the first stall, then totally disappeared. She was way ahead of us in line, but we didn't see her at the sink washing her hands or passing by any of us or anything. We never saw her again. My daughter is an extremely observant person who's always looking around and remembering things. I am much more spacey. So it really freaked me out when she corroborated my story. Is the mall ladies' room a portal to another dimension? Case file 1443. The Bathroom Portal Mystery. Your daughter sounds cute, like a young Hermione. DOP style, but for an entire human being. It does happen, even outside of space-time portals. I think people are made up of matter, even if tethered to this realm by a soul. So whatever force is responsible for DOP of inanimate objects can sometimes, very rarely though, affect whole people. Which of course begs the question, where did the lady go? The mind roams into unpleasant territory when pondering that question. Bonus file written by PMO09. Christmas Shivers. This is going to sound stupid, but when I was a kid, I swear I saw Santa, or someone in our house on Christmas Eve. Basically, the story is this. It was Christmas Eve and the whole family was asleep. Being a young kid, I was super excited to wake up the next morning and open presents. My room was located at the end of the house, and the hallway outside my door looked directly into the family room where the presents and tree were. In the middle of the night, I woke up from excitement and decided to take a peek down the hallway to see if Santa had come yet. In my family, Santa would leave bigger, unwrapped gifts by the tree overnight on Christmas Eve. I got out of bed, opened the door, and looked down the hallway. At first it was dark, so all I could see were lights from the stereo and VCR and some light from the street. Once my eyes adjusted, I saw a hand waving at me, sticking out from behind the wall that divided the hallway from the front door. It was a dark green glove with white trim, just like a Santa glove would be. I just stared at the arm as it slowly waved. I was frozen in fear. I ran back to my bed and started to cry. Eventually, I got up and sprinted across the hall into my parents' room. I told them what had happened, and of course, they thought I had just had a bad dream. Looking back at it, it's probably what it was, but it's such a vivid memory for me, unlike any other dream I've ever had. Case notes for the bonus file: Christmas Shivers. I could see this being a break-in. I've heard it's common for them to happen dressed up as Santa Claus around the holidays. It gives a cover of naturality. You're walking around as Santa Claus, people don't really pay any mind to you, no matter where you are. Now time for the poem of the day. The living come with grassy tread, to read the gravestones on the hill. The graveyard draws the living still, but never any more the dead. The verses in it say and say, the ones who are living come today, to read the stones and go away. Tomorrow the dead will come to stay. So sure of death the marbles rhyme, yet can't help marking all the time. How no one dead will seem to come. What is it men are shrinking from? It would be easy to be clever and tell the stones men hate to die, and have stopped dying now forever. I think they would believe the lie. Robert Frost. To eventually join with the very tombstones that they read and ponder on and linger on, and the emotions tethered to death, and the way we not glorify but remember death, incarnated literally into a physical manifestation of a solid stone carved out to depict who was dead. There's beauty and sadness combined, and I guess that is the story of death, isn't it? Passing, making way for other people, but let's see if we can fix that. Everyone who's ever lived has died. Maybe one of us can eventually break the rhyme. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.